Hello everyone, my name is Raj Pochiraju, Principal Program Manager in Azure Data Engineering Group at Microsoft. My primary focus is to enable seamless migrations to Azure using the tools and services that we built. In the previous video, we talked about the different phases in the migration journey, and we also talked about the specific tools and services that you can use to navigate through that migration journey. And in this video, I am specifically going to showcase how to create the Azure Database Migration Service that you can really use to migrate your on-premises databases to the Azure Database platforms. To create the DMS service, I log into the portal.azure.com, and I am going to use the create resource command here, and then I am going to look for migration resource. I find Azure Database Migration Service here. Now, in this create blade, we also provided you a step-by-step guidance for a given source and target pair that you interested to perform the migration, and this guidance will take you to the Azure Database Migration Guide that I talked about in my previous video. Now, once you review the step-by-step guidance that is provided over there, come back here and then create the DMS service to do your very first migration. So, at first you would provide the service name here, and then you pick a specific subscription where you want to create your the DMS instance, and then you can choose either existing resource group or create a new resource group that you can keep all the DMS resources in there. So, I am going to create a new resource group here, and then you need to pick a specific location where you want to create your DMS instance. One thing that we recommend is make sure that you pick a location or the region where you created your target databases, whether it could be a SQL database or whether it could be SQL database manager instance or whether it could be Azure database for MySQL. Whichever the location that you create your target, make sure that you select that location here as well for your optimal migration experience. So, I choose my location there. Now, I am going to pick the virtual network. So, this is the most important step in the DMS creation. So, DMS is going to use this virtual network that you selected here to be able to connect to the source environment and as well as to the target environment. So, in the case if your resources, if your source is sitting in the on-premises, you need to make sure that you pick a specific virtual network that has the site-to-site connectivity from your on-premises to the Azure network. So, to help you out to pick the right network, we created a network topology document and published in our doc site that really helps you to pick a right virtual network that enables the connectivity for DMS both source and target environments. So, here we described at least 4 topologies here. I am going to go at least couple of topologies here. The very first topology is where my sources are sitting on premises and I have the site to site connectivity between on premises and Azure. So, site to site connectivity can be established in 3 different ways. One, you can have a private express route connectivity, or you can have site to site VPN connectivity, or you can have point to site connectivity. Depending on whichever connectivity that you have, then the next step is to use the DMS to pick the right VNet for the DMS. So, in this topology, we created the DMS instance in the same virtual network as the virtual network used for the managed instance as well, but we used a different subnet. So, the virtual network is the same for both the DMS service and as well as the target managed instances, but they are in 2 different subnets. This is one the topology. The other topology is to perform the cloud to cloud migrations, where you are trying to migrate from a SQL server which is running on the Azure VM, and then you can pretty much use the same subnet and same VNet for creating the DMS instance as well. So, both the SQL VM and as well as the DMS service share the same VNet and same subnet, but the DMS and and the target manager instance, they share the same VNet, but they are in the two different subnets. We also provided the specific ports that you need to open an outbound connection in case if you have any NSG rules that are created on that specific VNet. We need to make sure that we open the outbound connectivity for the specific ports that are listed here, and also need to open a firewall for specifically for the specific TCP/IP port that the SQL Server source SQL Server is listening to it. That ports also needs to be opened for firewall and as well as the Windows firewall. So all those requirements are properly documented here. So once you know the specific network, then you go and then you choose that network here. Once you choose the virtual network, the next step is to pick the DMS size. So the DMS has got supports two different tiers. One is general purpose and the other one is business critical. When you choose general purpose, you can do offline migrations which requires some amount of migration downtime. But whereas if you need to perform an online migration with very minimal downtime, then you need to make sure that you pick the business critical tier to perform those migrations. So at this point, I choose the business critical here. The business critical is currently in public preview. Pretty soon it is going to be generally available as well. So now I got my service name, and I picked my virtual network, and I also picked my size, and then the next step is simply to hit a create button so that we can start creating your Azure database migration service. Typically it will take around 8 to 10 minutes to create the service. So I'm not going to create one, but I wanted to make sure that I show you the experience how to create the DMS service, and as well as the specific network requirements and some guidance that helps you to pick the right DMS size to perform your migrations as well. So that concludes my demo here. In my next video, I'm going to showcase how you can use the DMS service to perform the online migration from SQL Server to Azure SQL Database Manager instance. So thank you so much for your time, and I'll talk to you soon.